You need these free amulets in New World Aeternum. Today, what I'm going to be taking you through is some of the best protection free amulets that you can get in New World Aeternum, as well as some of the ones that you're going to want to pick up that you can't obtain for free, of course, as well. But there's a lot of these that you can get that are going to be super useful in your raids, in your mutations, and of course in PvP as well. If you do enjoy this video, don't forget to drop me a like and subscribe down below, as both those things are massively appreciated. And without further ado, let's jump into the video. So first things first, if you hover over the bottom left stats in your inventory, you will be able to see the attributes you currently have, the damage resistances you have, and the elemental damage resistances you have. So this is my set of gear with some random gems chucked in just to show you what this is going for. Now this is mainly what I use for PvP, so as you can see there we're on 15% slash resistance. We've got about 11.9 on both thrust and strike, and that is because onyxes cover all physical damage. As well as this, we've got 15.9 standard damage resistance and 12.6 damage resistance from nature. Now, that does leave me open to ice and fire pretty substantially, as well as void. To give you an example of how these amulets work and why you want to get them, if I'm doing a mutation that has the nature affix on it, I can actually put on this Grove Light amulet here, which has nature protection, which says receive 15% less nature damage. And as you can see there, we can then see that has 33% nature damage resistance. So all of my other stuff has gone, but we do have 33% for nature damage resistance there, which is super useful. Now where I'm getting the regular one from, you can see here on my Hoplite amulet, I've got a Wilderness Ward in there, which is 1.9 physical and 0.62 elemental damage, which is where I'm getting the 0.6. If you wanted to run a better setup with this, you could do more elemental protections through more diamonds or putting some opals into some of these slots as well, if you just want to get all general elemental resistances increased. The other thing that you're going to want to look out for is the gear score. So as you can see here, as well as the stats going up with the higher gear score, as you can see plus 31 intelligence on this one versus the 700 gear score, which is 16 and 16, so 32. It's also going to give you a bit more protection. So as you can see, this 691 is 15%, as is the 700 one, and also the 680 plus ones fit into this 15% protection range as well. But if you're going to buy some of these, which we'll talk about later in the video, there is actually some lower gear scores which will give you slightly less percentage damage reduction than 15%, but they may be significantly cheaper, so it's up to you to weigh up whether those options are worth buying or waiting for one that's going to give you the full 15% there. Of course, as well, it's worth noting that most of these are not 725. The Hoplite amulet I do have is, but there isn't many others. I do also have a Gorgon's amulet here, which gives me slash protection at 715, but that also gives me a 15% there. No 725s currently, but there is of course a chance to get some of these protections on things like your Hoplite or your Gorgon's amulet that can drop at 725 as well. Now, if you want to check out what protections you can actually get, I'll show them on screen for you here, but if you're ever wondering again for yourself, you can go into the Amulets section of the trading post, you can go over to the Filters tab here, you can add a perk, and simply type in Protection. As you can see here, if you type in Prot, you get all of these. Ignore the Mending Protection one, because that isn't the same thing, but the rest of these, as you can see, we have Arcane, we have Flame, we have Frozen, we have Lightning, Nature, Slash, Strike, Thrust, and Void protection, all between 5 and 15%. So as you can see there, that is what you're going to be aiming for depending on what mutation or what the raid affinity is, or of course what you're going to want in PvP. So if we head over to a gypsum kiln, as you can see here, if you've got some materia on you, which is an important part of this, because if you don't actually have any materia on you when you head over to these, you won't see these items available to craft. But if you do head over with some materia on you, you'll be able to see, and the first one here is the Heart of Cold. Now, this one gives you 15% less damage from ice, so frozen protection, and you're going to need dense glacial tarn materia in order to craft this. While we're on this page as well, we also have the Empty Hearth, which is from the Imperium Forge materia, which is what you'll need, dense Imperium materia for this, and this one gives you flame protection. And you can also get something called Wolf at the Door, and this one is going to be from the dense Savage Divide materia, and is going to provide you with arcane protection. The other one that you're going to want to watch out for here on the gypsum kiln that you can actually craft with materia is the Grove Light. This one is going to cost you dense Genesis materia, and is going to give you the nature protection. Again, the nature, the frozen, and the flame one are super good to get, because a lot of the mutations that you're going to get on your weekly refreshes are going to be one of these three, or two of these three, or even maybe all three of them. And so these amulets are going to be super useful for when you are running those mutations. You're definitely going to want to grab these. They're not too hard to get. I'm on fresh servers, and I've got all of these except from the Wolf at the Door one, because we haven't had a Savage Divide yet here on my server, but the rest of them are very easy to get hands on with, so I would certainly recommend grabbing those as soon as you do have enough points to do so. Now, if we hop over to New World Database quickly, we can see here there's some other amulets that you can get. Firstly, we're looking at the Soul Shroud Amulet. This one is going to give you slash protection. In terms of the drops from this one, if we have a look down here, a lot of stuff all over Merkgard, and it can also be grabbed from elite chests in Imperial Palace, Heliopolis, Castrum, Solarium Kepri, all of this stuff. So when you're doing your elite runs, you can grab these. But like I said, you can also, with the next few that I'm going to go through, you can get all of these slash protections and void protections and things like that on any random drops as well. So do just make sure you check in any amulet drops that you get for these particular perks. The next one here we're looking at is the Encroaching Corruption Amulet. This one gives you the void protection, and as New World Database says here, it is an invasion drop. Now, that does mean that you could get it at a lower gear score. You might get some random perks on here that are not that good. If I'm honest, I would look at buying or crafting a better void protection amulet if it's something you do want to get. It is one of the mutations, so it is worth having. So definitely do your invasions to try and grab it. But I think that crafting or buying a better dropped one than this is probably going to be a better option. It's just I wanted to show you that there is a option for getting a drop of this item if you don't want to buy it, if you're trying to save money. The Sporelight Amulet is the one you're going to want for strike protection. This is going to be dropped by random mobs in the Elysian Wilds, and you can also get it from elite chests again in your Imperial Palace, your Castrum, your Heliopolis, all of those elite zones. So as you are going around doing your chest runs, or you are in the elite zones here in the Elysian Wilds, the Tribunal High Ground and such like that, you can look out for this as a drop. But like I said again, this can drop on anything, so you may want to look for a particular drop of this on a trading post, or a crafted one, or craft your own if this is something that you're looking for. Tanglevine Amulet is what you're going to look for if you're wanting thrust protection. This is again going to be dropped from some mobs in the Elysian Wild. There's a few different mobs on here that you can go for. The main one that I've seen most people posting about here on New World Database is actually this guy here, Aestor the Jailer. This is apparently the best drop for it, so if you do want to do this, this is where he's located in the Elysian Wilds, which is right down in the bottom right hand corner. But again, if you're wanting to do this, it might just be easier to buy or craft a better version. And then finally, just jumping back into the game, for the lightning protection is the only other thing, but I haven't been able to find a reasonably priced one on my server, nor have I been able to find a good drop for this. But to be honest, it's only really useful for the last boss in Savage Divide, maybe for the Siren Queen, and a couple of other situational things. To be honest, I think I'd rather have a different style of protection, but if you do feel like you need it, or you think there's other methods that this is going to be used for, drop in the comments down below and let me know. But yeah, I would probably go ahead and look for a drop on the trading post, or craft your own one for lightning protection. Now, like I said, all of these drops are not at 725, and some of them may be under 700 gear score, but to get that protection, that 15% is a huge bonus, especially for mutations. If you bring up your activities tab and actually have a look on here, you can see what each of them have. So Starstone Barrows this week is the Overgrown, which is of course the nature damage, so a nature amulet there is going to be super useful. The Depths, we've got the Hellfire, so the fire protection amulet, and then Eternal here, which is the void one on the Glacial Tarn. So again, if you're wanting to complete these M1s or M2s, it's going to be enough just to have the amulet and some regular opals or diamonds in your gear. If you're going for M3, you definitely want these specific gems with the amulet. If you are struggling to get into groups, or you find it taking a lot of damage when you do get into these groups and you haven't been using the amulets, this is going to give you a huge buff in protection versus that particular affliction or ailment or element, whatever you want to call it. And so hopefully this will help you to survive much easier. So that is going to be it for today's video. Hopefully this video does help you to be able to find the right amulet for you and the content that you're trying to complete, and make this content much easier for you. Showing you where you can get a few drops there. Do be aware that some of these can be fairly pricey on the trading post, depending on your server as well. These will change, but hopefully you can get hands on with some of these and make some of your runs a lot easier. If you have enjoyed the video, please drop me a like and subscribe down below, as both of those things are massively appreciated and do help me and the channel out massively. And other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again very shortly on a brand new upload. Take care and peace.